Now this summer, you're playing festivals, you're headlining, I think, in Spain, you're playing Germany, Japan. How is it going from, say, like being in Providence, Rhode Island, playing a club, to going overseas and playing to 40, 50,000 people?
Well, Wagen's going to be more. That's like 100,000 people, and at that show, it's like Iron Maiden, Motley Crue, Alice Cooper, Wasp, us. I mean, it's just theatrical bands all in one one festival. So it's pretty amazing to be just part of that. It's like going to be the show of the decade, and we're happy to be a part of it. And then that starts our European tour. It's so different. The audience over there, for us, so far has been younger. So we're playing to kids, you know, who've heard of the folklore of it all and bought the albums and like it, and so we're really, you know, it's a whole different than touring here. There's a lot of older fans who's, you know, been there from the beginning and they're hardcore. But in Europe, it's a lot of younger fans, and they all kind of unite. There's no inhibitions. No one stands with their arms crossed. It's just they came to have fun. They get their money's worth. So it's so different. But I see more and more, especially on this tour, everyone's having such a good time at our shows that we're kind of breaking down that barrier and bringing some of that what we get in Europe here. You know?
Are you amazed at some of these countries that you go to, that people know who Lizzy Borden is?
Not amazed. I mean, just like with, look at the metalcore thing. I mean, all those kids know who every band of that genre was. You know, heavy metal was so much bigger that, you know, we were competing with, you know, major label bands, and we were on an independent label. So I can understand that. But with like the metalcore movement, everybody knows every band that plays that sort of music. So now, because of the internet and everything else, we're getting that exposure to especially the younger audience who's just looking for, you know, any tidbit of something that happened that was really good or is happening that's really good. And we're filtering, you know, with our new album Appointment with Death, we're filtering through that system and people are responding to it.
Now, Appointment with Death, that came out in 2007. And to me, I'm almost 40, I've been in Lizzy since the beginning. How do you feel like 25 years later that you made an album that can like stand up to Master of the Skies? How do you like feel that 25 years later you're still making an album that can stand up to, you know, anything you've done in the 80s?
I think it's amazing. I mean, you know, we're one of the only bands from the 80s still getting played on MTV, you know, and we're, you know, we're trying to make quality stuff. I see a lot of bands who just put out an album just to justify going on the road, and I just can't do it.
Sure.
You know.
I mean, what I like is, you know, it's been quite a bit of time in between each album, but when you put out an album, it's solid, especially with the videos like Under My Skin, like those. I mean, do you still feel like it's important to make videos?
I do. I mean, especially now, because it's a great art form that you know, why shouldn't we have that marriage? You know, we're a theatrical band, it's a visual thing, so to me it's just second nature. I wouldn't, you know, and we have the exposure of the internet now, so it's even more of a possibility for more people to see what you try and accomplish and what you're trying to bridge from the audio to the visual. And so videos are very important for us, and we try and, you know, make sure that we do these videos that are so interesting to watch that, you know, they make in turn you go and buy the record and go, wow, I really like that song. And, you know, and it ties it together with the video just like it did in the 80s, but I think more in a less commercial way. It's not a commercial to sell the album, but it turns out to be that way. You know, to me, the video is an art form too that we're so interested in exploring more so now than we did in the 80s. In the 80s, it was more of a commercial.
And you also seem to not forget the importance of album artwork. Now, you worked with Rellis Khan.
Rellis Khan, yeah.
And he did your stage attire, your artwork. How did you come to collaborate with him?
He actually contacted us. He had worked with Marilyn Manson and Slipknot and a whole bunch of different other cool people, but he was a really big fan of Lizzy Borden, you know, and so he contacted us and said he really wanted to do something. So we brought him on board, and I told him what we were doing and you know, my ideas, and then he took all the ideas that I threw at him and then twisted it around and you know, created that photo shoot for the album, which was, you know, to me, it's, I know people are downloading music and they're not necessarily buying the CD with the jewel case and all that, but to me the artwork is part of the production of everything, and I didn't want to just throw out any old thing, you know. To me, I wanted that, you know, when I was a kid, just staring at the album,
sure,
and listening to that music and kind of trying to take in what the band was about just based on what they put on their cover, you know, or inside the, you know, in the sleeve. So I don't want to ever forget that, you know, no matter if it all goes digital, you know, I still want to really put, you know, we try and do everything to everything, the videos, the artwork, everything. We try and put everything into it that ties it all together, this nice conceptual thing. It's a lot of work, but in the end, at least, you know, the albums and the songs, they stay forever. Live shows come and go, you know, they fade with memory, you know, fade in time, but the music's going to be here for as long as it, I don't know, as long as it, I hope for a long time.
And I read a while ago that your catalog was going to come out on vinyl. Is that still something that's going to happen?
It's something that I want to happen. We've talked about it with the record company a few times, and they keep saying that it's one of those things where we want to do it all, but we're in a waiting list because everyone's doing it at the same time. So, you know, we'll see what happens. I'm sure it will happen. I don't know. I know we did all the reissues and we remastered everything and everything. I mean, Lovely Pieces and Menace sound so much better than they did originally, and so I'm really proud of the reissues, and they're all out there now. So I'd like to actually put those back on vinyl and then see what they really sound like with that grain in there, you know.
Now, back when you were starting out in '83, you know, it was all about putting flyers up, word of mouth. How have you embraced like the social technology, like the Twitter, the Facebook, the MySpace? Is that something you embrace, or do you think that kind of takes away from the mystique of knowing like every move the band is making, and before they come to town, you know what the set list is or what the stage looks like? How does that, you know, affect you?
It does have an effect. It has. It's something that I don't like as much. But you can take the good with the bad. There, you know, awareness is everything in what we're doing. And if people are aware of us because of the internet, then I'm great. You know, I'm grateful for it. But at the same time, I don't like, you know, I like everything to be a surprise. You know, what we do. You know, our show is a well-oiled machine. It's honed, but in order to get that way, it's repetitive for us. But it shouldn't be for the audience. You know, the audience, it should be a brand new, you know, thing for them, and for us, it's also, you know, we don't want to ever have a bad night. So the show is designed that way, where it's going to pay off. So when people go on the internet and they give away anything, pictures or whatever, some of it's good, some of it's bad, but you know, you got to take the good with the bad, and when it comes to something like that.